Hello everybody, it's Wyron here with another bit of Total War Warhammer 2 Quick Match gameplay. This time around we are on Deadwood, playing as a High Elves against the Force of Chaos. And for this matchup I wanted to bring good old Tyrion, who of course he's been buffed in the last patch. He's now quite the melee beast. There's two major changes. He did get Heart of Avalorn buff, so now it procs whenever he's below 20% HP rather than 10%. Before it was really difficult. A lot of times the stuff that should have turned it on would actually just see Tyrion either rout or die before he got use out of it, which is obviously not great. And otherwise, he got AP, so he's an absolute monster now. Otherwise, of course, I'd bring him here with Foe Seeker, Stand Your Ground, and Faint in Riposte. I figured if my opponent decided to go with, say, Kolek or Sarthoriel, Tyrion would be able to run them down and beat the snot out of him in close quarters. Hopefully against Archaon he'd do okay. And, you know, if my opponent went Dragon Ogres, Chaos Knights, all that sort of stuff, Tyrion would also do a good job hunting them down, because he's just such a monster in close quarters. And Chaos doesn't really have too many tools, I think, to shut him down. Unfortunately, his HP pool is definitely a little low, but still very powerful. Alongside him, we do have a Noble here, mounted on a horse. Nothing too fancy there. He does, of course, have his AP anti-large. Once again, very useful against Chaos. And a Mage of High Magic. She does have her Book of Hoth, as well as the Starboard Staff. I did bring Soul Quench, wanting to test it out. Also wanting some sort of spell to supplement Apotheosis, which is dirt cheap, and does have some cooldown, so you can't just spam it constantly. And of course, Shield of Sapphire. Perhaps I should have brought Hand of Glory as well, but I did not. For my main line, I did bring 3 units of Swordmasters. These guys are absolutely stellar in this matchup, but you have to be incredibly cautious, because if your opponent brings Hell Cannons, as my opponent brought here, these guys will get dumpstered. You really need to try to keep their martial prowess up. They're still a respectable unit without martial prowess, don't get me wrong, but you really want to keep that melee defense up so that when the melee clash happens with Chosen with Great Weapons or Chaos Warriors or whatever, these guys hold up really well and just tear them to shreds. A few spears augment that, and our main, you can see they're hidden all throughout the trees here. In case my opponent tried any sneaky shenanigans through the woods, I kind of anticipated it might be nice or whatever. And then 4 units of Eagle Claw Bolt Throwers. And this might seem like a little overkill, and it kind of is, but I figured as a supplement to Tyrion and the Noble against large, and also to counteract enemy Hell Cannons, because I don't want to be trying to shut down Hell Cannons in melee most likely with this army. I figured having this many Eagle Claws is probably not a bad idea, and plus they'll do okay against infantry as it closes. Now for my opponent, he went with a very wide infantry heavy build, but he's also brought 2 Hell Cannons. Now this is not something I would recommend, guys. If you're going against High Elves, if you bring Hell Cannons, you can do it, but I would bring either an aerial goon squad, which is not that great, I think, as Chaos, or more likely Marauder Horsemen with throwing axes, or even Marauder Horsemasters. Try to zone off your opponent's flyers, because if your opponent brings a Star Dragon, they can instantly breath a Hell Cannon from 100 to 0, or kill the gun at any rate instantly, which is really, really brutal, and you don't want that to happen as Chaos. But my opponent did bring Archaon over here. He's on foot, which will make him a bit of a pinball, but of course he's also been buffed to beastly numbers at this point, though not quite up to snuff with martial prowess buff to Tyrion. He of course does have the Slayer of Kings, which just makes him pure nuts in close quarters. He's got Standard Die, Burning Head, not bad against Sheep Elves, and a Fireball, which does do some damage, though obviously against Tyrion, who has fire resistance, not going to do too much. Chaos Sorcerer of Metal is over here with Final Transmutation, as well as Transmutation of Lead, and the Metal Shifting. I wouldn't bother with Metal Shifting if you're going with such expensive spells, because you're probably not going to get much value out of it. I'd actually have probably gone with with getting Kindle Flame instead on Archaon, and probably Piercing Bolts, because they're better against more elite Elven troops. But regardless, you can definitely make some use of it against Archers, Sisters of Avalor, that sort of stuff. First front line, my opponent does have a bunch of Chaos Marauders to soak up the fire, backed by the Mirror Guard, a great unit with immune to Psychology, some Chaos Warriors with great weapons, and some Halberds, Chosen Halberds in fact over here. And yeah, that's Chaos Warriors with Halberds. So a bit of a diverse infantry-centric build. Definitely some potent units there. But if we can get rid of the Hell Cannons, we are basically A-okay to win this game pretty handily. Now, immediately you can see we're going to start lobbing some bolt thrower shots at the Sorcerer of Metal. In fact, my opponent trying to shoot, you can see the Swordmasters here are out of range of his Hell Cannons, so they're fairly safe. You can see the Hell Cannons there wasting some shots trying to hit the Eagle Claw Bolt Thrower, and I'm immediately going to take my Hero Goon Squad and push out, figuring that with this much infantry, it's pretty clear my opponent doesn't have much, if any, cavalry. It's good to know the costs of units, because you can often get a very accurate analysis of just how much your opponent has on the field. And so I'm sallying out with Tyrion here and the Goon Squad, looking to snatch up this Chaos Sorcerer of Metal and snipe him down. So you can see here, as Tyrion gets close, I'm going to detach the Mage of High Magic away from him to make sure that she doesn't get melted by the Final Transmutation. That way I can save my heals for Tyrion. Tyrion does dive in, and he's going to start smacking this poor guy around pretty handily because the bolt throwers do fire in. In the meantime, my opponent is advancing because he realized he has to shut down these bolt throwers or he's going to lose that fight. There's no hope otherwise. Now Tyrion is able to start cutting down the Chaos Sorcerer of Metal. He's doing a rather good job of it, but Archaon is in the pits now. So despite Tyrion having fainted or post up, Archaon, of course, with Slayer of Kings, is still a beast and is going to be making Tyrion very, very sad. In the meantime, though, our bolt throwers, well, we have lost a bolt thrower to the Hell Cannon. We are going to be able to start pounding these imposing Marauders, trying to close the gap on us. And you can see Archaon here slugging out with Tyrion. But honestly, Tyrion with his crazy melee defense, especially with Fainter post-up, he's going to be able to soak up these attacks pretty effectively. I do actually use Apotheosis on him here to heal him up a little bit, try to keep him intact and okay, because, you know, he's pretty safe from Archaon. Archaon's got 78 melee attack to his 72 melee defense, so a little above average chance to hit. In the meantime, my opponent is closing the gap here with the Chaos Marauders, but we already pushing our Swordmasters into the fray, and you can see they're going to connect here, and they're just going to mulch through these little guys. The Chaos Marauders really don't stand a chance. Probably should have turned off the fire from the Eagle Claw Bolt Throwers here, because while they're breaking these guys' leadership, they're also hurting my Swordmasters, which is bad. But in the meantime, here in the pits, my opponent does use a Transmutation of Lead, trying to debuff Tyrion, but the Heart of Avalon does proc, and so Tyrion doesn't give a darn, and Archaon suddenly finds himself very, very outmatched here at 700 HP, as the Noble is doing his very best to try to shut down the Chaos Sorcerer, and our caster is killing the Soul of Damnation's crew. So at this stage, Archaon is essentially screwed. You can see he's trying to run for dear life, but Tyrion is not going to let the Lord of the End Times escape that easily. Soul Quench does go down there on the Hell Cannon. Does a little bit, but nothing too impressive. Archaon does get run down there, looking all sad in the snow. That's quite the end times for him. Meantime, with the Swordmasters are going to engage on the Chaos Warriors with halberds and actually start dumpstering them. And you can see they're going into this fight kind of beat up. They're down 4,400 HP, but they are immediately mincing through these guys. Keep in mind, this is a unit that started out with like 6,800 HP, and they're already down 2,000. That's nuts. Over here, Chosen with Halberds are engaging on the Swordmasters, and they actually got a nice full-blooded charge, but we do have spears coming in from the flank. We've got these Swordmasters here in the pits, these spears on the flank, and while spears are not going to do great, you can see they've got 0 kills here. They've just been getting torn apart by Mirror Guard. They're also not going to fall apart and just rout, which is very important. And the Swordmasters, in the meantime, can just farm kills. You can see they're actually taking up out of these Chosen in the long run. Keep in mind, these guys have like 40, I think it's 64 melee attack, or 62 melee attack with their bonus versus infantry, when they've got martial prowess up. So they are hitting Chosen pretty effectively. Over here, with just a couple hundred HP gone, the Swordmasters are able to run over these Chaos Warriors with halberds. If you're able to chain off engagements with cheaper infantry, they will do so well because they basically lose nothing HP-wise, or they'll lose very little HP-wise. They keep that martial prowess, and they're able to chain off win after win. And here we are able to shadow those Chaos Warriors with halberds. Over here, my opponent's Chaos Warriors with halberds over here are wavering. I'm not entirely sure why. I think it's at this point it is going to be the full shatter for his army. The Chosen are just not able to hold up with Archaon gone. And that is going to be game for the Elves. There are still, of course, the Hell Cannon crew, who don't rout. They are unbreakable. I'm not entirely sure why that is. I guess it's supposed to reflect the fact that it's a demon cannon. Kind of makes you wonder if we're going to see unbreakable cannons or unbreakable units for the demons, if they're all going to be unbreakable. But you can see the bolt throwers there trying to tee off because I didn't have a unit nearby to kill these guys. And there, it's actually double whammy, just knocks both out. And so there go the dwarves. So a pretty quick match. The bolt throwers, I didn't really use them for their intended purpose because my hero squad snuck through their line and got in on top of them. Mostly I wanted to show this game to show, one, how amazing Tyrion is right now. He was able to take apart a sorcerer, get hit by Final Transmutation, granted a normal cast, but he's tanked a Final Transmutation. He kicked the crap out of Archaon. He actually took down both Archaon as well as the Chaos Sorcerer of Metal, essentially, all by his lonesome. That's the new Tyrion, and he's not that expensive of a lord. He's not amazing cost-wise. Like, does cost you a pretty penny, but at the same time, he's not terrible. And I think that with proper magic support, you can definitely make him work. I'm not entirely sold on the Mage of High Magic here. I wanted to mostly try out Soul Quench, which did okay against the Soul Damnation. Or the Hell Cannon. Not sure it was really worth it, but it was worth a try, I suppose. You know, maybe 2 Soul Quenches will take out a Hell Cannon, though, in which case it would probably be worth it. I don't know. It's something I got to test more, perhaps. But Tyrion, absolutely beastly. Mage of High Magic, not bad. Perhaps Earthblood or something. Lore of Life would be better. Noble, of course, solid. Only got 8 kills, but he was mostly tearing apart crews and running down the Chaos Lurchers, so what can you expect? Spears. This does kind of show the spears. They don't do well against elite infantry at all, but they hold their own, which is what really matters. The Swordmasters, able to tear through Chaos Warriors. They'll tear through Mirror Guard. They'll tear through Chosen. They'll tear through all those units pretty efficiently. They're one of those units that, if you let your Swordmasters get dumpstered early on by shooting, by cavalry charges, by monster charges, then you're going to have some issues. But if you're able to get your Swordmasters into a fight unscathed, or relatively unscathed within okay HP ranges, they are going to do brutal, and I mean brutal work. They will cut through Chosen with great weapons, who cost 200 more. And they will dice through anything low beneath that really, really effectively. 60 melee attack against infantry is no joke. 50 weapon strength. They're essentially Black Orcs with permanent WA active. It's pretty nuts as far as their damage output goes. And they've got 48 melee defense with martial prowess, so they will just shoot. They're just so amazing. I can't actually, it's one of those things people don't realize. I think they're so squishy and they're flimsy and they're very tough to make good use out of, but when you do get good use out of them, they're amazing. Eagle Claw Bolt Throwers, well, they got a few kills. Honestly, I brought too many, probably. I wanted to try out a whole bunch of shooting, and I didn't even really use them for their purpose of shutting down the Hell Cannon, so my misplay there, but what can you do? Regardless, well played to my opponent, Brightblade here. I do hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hopefully you enjoyed some Swordmaster action and some good old Tyrion highlighting. If you did, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. If you have any comments, any criticism, any questions, do not hesitate to ask. I will respond as soon as I can. If you have any comments, any criticism, yeah, be sure to just tell me what, and I'll do my best to get back to you guys. I do thank you all for watching, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye for now.